Good morning, everybody. Pastor Stitch, Narrow Path Christian Church, BC, Bay City, Michigan. Welcome to the Biker Devotional. Today is November 16th, 2024, and we are looking at, yes, you guessed it, Proverbs 16. Proverbs 16 and verse 2, and maybe one other. Verse 2 says, "All a man's ways seem right to him, but Yahweh evaluates the motives." Have you ever had an occasion where you were doing something and you knew with beyond a doubt that it was the right thing to do? You didn't have a choice. You had to do that thing. But have you ever wondered if maybe you did have a choice? See, as I read that verse today, I knew I was going to be talking about it. And I really believed what I was going to say is that we assume that we have no other choice, and that the reality is sometimes it's just us convincing ourselves that that's true. And as I was reading through the rest of the proverb for today, I get to verse 26, and I read this: "A worker's appetite works for him, because his hunger urges him on." And as I read that, I thought to myself, there are many times where you're hungry for things, and so you work hard to get what you want, but it isn't necessarily what you should have. And so you're chasing after the things. And what verse 2 actually tells me, and hopefully explains to you as well, is that you have convinced yourself things are right. But at the end of everything, God knows what the real reason is. There were years where I chased after having a 1969 Mach 1 Mustang, wanted it so badly. And my motives were pure, I was sure, But it was all selfish. Matter of fact, there were times where I was willing to make sacrifices that weren't really my sacrifices to make. They were provision that should have been for other people. No, I never got that 1969 Mach 1 Mustang. And if I ever get one, that'll be amazing. But I'm not chasing it anymore. Matter of fact, it used to be a real desire of my heart, but today, I don't need it. I've driven one. They're cool. They're not nearly as fun to drive as some of the newer cars, but the power and the look, those are amazing, right? But God measured and knew my heart. He knew that it was completely selfish. He also knew that, especially back then, it would have got me in trouble. And today, if I still had it, had I gotten it back then, it would sit someplace and hardly ever be used, and it would be that investment. I would enjoy it a couple times a year and whatever. But the reality is, that's not how it should work. A man's ways seem right to him, but Yahweh evaluates the motives. Much like a man's hunger drives him to work harder. All of this to say one thing: where is your hunger? Where is your desire? Because it should be in the Lord. If you hunger and thirst after righteousness, you will be filled. And so this is what we're looking at. We're going into a season of thanks and a season of family and a season of celebration. And for some, a season of mourning, sorrow, and grief. But the reality is, all of that can be looked at from another perspective. when we put our focus and our wants on the Lord. A man's ways seem right to him, but the Lord evaluates the motives. Verse 26 says, a worker's appetite works for him because his hunger urges him on. And the crazy thing here, guys, the verse right before that goes right along with verse 2 as well. There's a way that seems right to a man, but in the end leads to death. Where's your focus today? It's really important to remember. I love you all. I want you to know that from the bottom of my heart. Jesus loved me, and I can't help but sharing that love with you. And I want you to know the love of God too. Have a great day. God bless.